Hey, it's the Scotch Test Dummies on board.
I'm Scott.
Woo, we got an ARDBEG Hypernova. Hypernova.
Committee release 2022, and we're gonna
Test it.
That was a good one,
I
Sal.
went longer because it's part of the Nova series. Woo!
So some people have noticed that my mic automatically when it gets those loud noises, it kind of tones.
I thought you were throttling me.
No,
I saw it the other day. I was watching one, and I thought you were bringing it down. I thought, damn, he's offended by
It's just the mic gonna tone those loud noises
cut me
down.
by like
so.
32%. I was like, dang it.
This is actually, so this is the 2022
That's a good sign, folks.
Hypernova committee release. This has been out actually for 3 or 4 months.
Got it.
I was in our liquor store, R&J discount liquor, the other day, a couple days ago. They had it out on the shelf. I was like, that one's mine.
Woo.
So it just showed up here in Kansas, Wichita, Kansas. Has been out. There's a few other reviews up on YouTube I haven't watched, so I don't know what other people have thought of this one.
Me neither.
Exactly.
This one, we both tried it.
I cracked it in the store, let Dustin try it, so there is a little bit gone here. And that was one of the first things that didn't impress me.
Well, there's no color added.
The color, well, ARDBEG doesn't add color.
Right.
But
I'm saying.
No, it's telling you two things. One, it's either young or refill casks are used here where there's very little cask influence.
Sure.
No sherry.
Right.
No sherry influence here, just looking at the color. If there would be, it'd be a very, 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 very faint light influence.
And it smells very ARDBEG-y. Of course, you've got that peat from the Isla.
51%. And there is a fact about this one I'm not going to tell you yet.
Okay.
And I know, yep, you don't know it yet.
Okay. This one's been aged in space.
No.
Oh.
It's not that one.
Thought maybe it went up with musk.
Yeah,
I know one did.
The nose is actually a little faint. Citrusy.
Yeah, citrus with that peat bog. Maybe a touch of tobacco in there, but it's faint. It's not as kind of tobacco-ish. I said tobacco. That's a weird way to say the word.
Yeah, it is a little bit of it like a tobacco lime.
I thought you were saying, yeah, that is a weird way to say the word tobacco.
Well, that is a weird way to say it, but
I've coined it. Tobacco.
Tomato, tomato.
Tobacco, tobacco.
Malty, peaty, vanilla, kind of that citrusy.
Yeah, it's almost like a vanilla custard with that citrus twinge to it. Huh.
So in the store, though, I'll tell you, well, the second sip is where the first sip kind of got on the palate, got you going, and it was the second sip then. So the first sip, I was kind of like, okay, that's good. Then the second sip is a little bit different.
Man, so we'll start with the finish. You get that strong Isla peat linger. And it's staying there for quite some time. It's not overly oily. It's not even a lot of heavy tobacco. It's actually in the finish sitting a little clean and crisp. Wow. But that smoke lingers and hangs. It's still there. What do you got?
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I got a lot of peat really, though, up front, though, too, that I didn't get the other day, but kind of maybe a fresher palate here, having a whiskey before, kind of getting her tuned up a little bit. I got peat up front, and just really I thought there is a little bit of oiliness, a little bit of waxiness almost.
I'll give you a waxy.
Yeah. Peaty, citrusy, sweet, vanillas.
This is another one of those peats where run your tongue along the front of your teeth, and you pick up these sweet notes at the same time as you're getting all these wonderful smokes. You can get those phenols in there that are just really nice. Now, again, if you're not a peat lover, this isn't as peaty as some that I've had, but it's still super peaty. So if you've never had peat before, this is probably going to be a little overwhelming. But as a peat head, I find this to be, if I was going to say it on a peat scale, and 10's blowing your socks off with peat, it's like an 8. Wouldn't you say it's about an 8 on that peat scale, if you were to say?
It's up there. It doesn't feel like.
Yeah, it's not like that peat clod in your mouth. That citrus thing lightens it up a bit.
The fact about this one that you don't know, this is the peatiest ARDBEG that's ever been done.
by phenols.
Yeah.
So they've done
Supposed to be like 180 parts per million.
Got it.
Most ARDBEGs are 50. It doesn't really feel it. It doesn't show it. To me, though, the second sips and these subs, but I will tell you the other day after I had it, it stays on the palate. 10, 15, I'd left the store.
15 minutes.
10, 15, 20 minutes later, I'm still tasting it.
That's good. I was going to say when I stopped talking, it was still there.
Yeah.
And then you started to go in. So it's one thing I love about peat in general, that finish is lingering. But 15 minutes?
Yeah. Yeah, it was still there. So it does. I think those peat phenols are clinging on. They're hanging around. Now that was the number Dustin threw at me, 180 parts per million. I haven't seen that. I don't know. That could be.
It does say the ultimate.
Yeah. They do say this is the peatiest ARDBEG, the peatiest whiskey ARDBEG has ever done.
But it's still interesting.
It's nice.
Right. It's still interesting that it doesn't feel like it's overwhelming my palate or any of that. So, very nice. I stand by everything I've already said. Let me put a little water in there. What'd you get?
Peanuts, roasted peanuts, little bit of seaweed.
Water?
Yep. I know I said 51%, I think is all. Seems a little light.
Yeah.
They had to have brought it down. And I'm going to guess, just by the color, I think this one's a little bit younger. I think this is probably 6 to 8 years old. Just going by the color. But then if you heavily peat something, you don't want it to age too long because that peat
It starts to go away.
is coming down. So you wonder, if you want to release the peatiest whiskey you got, you want to do it younger.
Yeah, that's why the Wee Beastie at 5 is delicious. And something that Isla Peats can take advantage of. You can put it out young, and it's still delicious.
Do you want me to go grab Scorch and we can do it side by side? The ARDBEG Scorch? Yeah. No, this one's definitely
Scorch.
This one's
disappointed me strong.
definitely better than Scorch.
Yeah, way. Scorch, I was all excited about, and then it was just burnt wood.
You're a bigger peat head than I am. I can still see this one will be. This would be a hard temptation to go back to.
Go back to. Yeah, just do it. Don't let yourself be tempted.
I like it.
Just do it. Just go back to it. You can keep this one here.
I like the peat on this one. I like the citrus, but really, I mean, there is a lot of peat, but it's at the same time, it's kind of smooth.
I just the other day
delicious.
was going through all my ARDBEGs, and it was after we did our final conclusion for the gassing experiment, and I'd had little frogs out, and I thought, you know what? I know not to gas these, but I wanted to get that wax seal and put it around some of my more expensive ARDBEGs, Supernova and whatnot. And I went and had all those before I resealed them. And I mean, this is good, and this is on par, but it would be neat to have the Supernova and this Hypernova head to head. See what happens. You'll have to bring this over sometime.
Was the ARDBEG was the sherry cast one. Supernova wasn't sherry cast. Would we want to compare this to an Octomore, since this is supposedly a lot heavier in peat?
We could. The Octomores come in a lot.
It's like a 5, 6 year
whole
old.
different style. We'll go get it. Yeah.
Do we want to
compare? Sure. Yeah, I think that'd be fun. The fans love to see those little comparisons. So we'll pause. My mustache.
Now this one's been open for a while too. So this one's 258 parts per million. This is 6.3. So there is some. This is the wine cask influenced ones. This might not be a fair comparison.
Maybe not.
But we can look at the peat level. We could probably.
When you try peat head to head, sometimes those phenols pull back into the ether almost. Oh, you just want to do one?
Yeah, we just share one. And I have this one.
Go first. I need something.
This one's been open for a while. The peat could be toned down on this.
And I find with these Octomores, the peat and is a little bit more in your face, a little bit more kind of almost spicy up front. We'll have to see. It's been a while since I've tried mine.
Yeah. Wow. That's got more of a palate than the Hypernova does.
It does.
Yeah. But it's going to be higher ABV though as well, so that might 64% ABV.
I get a little bit of like almost a burning wood oak incense.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I think I can stop that comparison just based on
Yeah,
ABV and that.
You almost can't compare.
That one's still nice though. But
It is nice, but it's very different. I would
Very
love.
different.
I'd say next time, bring this over. You can keep this one here. Bring it over. We'll try the Supernova against the Hypernova and see what goes on.
Okay.
So,
let me take one more sip here and I'll score it.
that's good.
Did we do water?
I did.
Yeah.
I didn't put water in the second
Okay.
pour. I did. I mean, it's tasty. It's good.
Going back to it, I'm not even. This one's got a little bit more ABV punch and a little bit more. But then when I
This
go
one's got
back,
more
that one,
tobacco now. I pick up more
It's
of the
still-
tobacco on the second round
There-
through. Interesting.
okay, that Hypernova's really holding its own once you go back and forth. Outside of the ABV.
That's a good comparison, actually. I mean, you can tell they're totally different drams. If you gave these to me blind, I'm not sure I would know what the heck I was dealing with either one, other than Isla. But I would be like, these are wildly different yet similar. What price are we scoring?
91.
Oddly, I'm going to say 91. It's good. It's not quite blowing my socks off, but
right.
I mean, it's still in my top tier that I love. If you know I'm scoring it at 91.
Yeah.
So
And in our area, so these were $200 now. Surprised me. They used to be 120 to 140.
Yeah,
Well,
120.
I've only found one other committee release, I think, one time, and it might have been 150. Maybe it was 150. I'd have to go back and see. That was the black. That's the only other committee release I've found here in town.
because I found a couple before. Maybe I ordered them.
Yeah, I've never seen.
Yeah,
committee
and I had
releases.
my New York City buddy.
So,
Missed it.
I think it's a great committee release from ARDBEG. I think they're back now. Last year's we didn't find at all,
Right.
which was a different. I forget what the deal was with last year's.
They're
One
capitalizing
before was
on the
Scorch.
Novas. Yeah, and Scorch is terrible. And they're capitalizing on the Nova. The Supernova was good. Well, my favorite was the Supernova. What was the other one we had that was really, really nice?
We've had Drum, Dark Cove.
Yeah.
Dark Cove has been the best.
Right. True.
Drum,
You're right.
Black.
Dark Cove, and then I really like Supernova. Yeah, Dark Cove probably was the best.
There was another one in there by Drum.
Because Drum's the hippie whole thing going on.
Drum was the rum cask, I want to
Yeah.
say.
And then the hippie one had all the stuff on it. That's probably the one. I
That's
can't
the one
remember
I'm
what it's
thinking
called.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Good.
I think it's worth it. And if you're an ARDBEG committee release, I think this is one that is. This one is ARDBEG. This one.
They're kind of, though, you've known this and you got on me a little bit because they've, this is very good. But with Scorched, for me, they kind of jumped the shark.
Yeah.
And I became to a point where it's like, early on, I had to have it. I had to find it. I had to order it online. I had to get a connection, pay somebody to go buy it at their liquor store, gift me, whatever. I was getting a hold of them. That's since backed off a little bit. I don't feel like I need to chase the committee releases or anything. And you know why. I love their core range. Enough said.
I like the palette one up. Yeah, it's hard to beat the core range. Anyway, go to ScotchTestDummies.com. You can pick up coins, glasses, shirts, hats, all kinds of stuff. It helps support the show. It keeps the lights on, keeps the whiskey coming. This whiskey was bought with Patreon funds.
And before we go to Patreon, though, I want you to click subscribe and thumb this. We need that help in the algorithm.
And leave a comment.
Comments are good too. But then go to Patreon because that is how we buy these bottles. You go to Patreon, you look up Scotch Test Dummies, and at that point in time, you can donate at least $1 a month, $1 a video. You can do it at whatever amount you want. Scotch it, you Scotch gods.
Launch. Dummies.